Welcome to Sessions with Ellie, an intriguing talk show about relationships, romantic love, and family. I'm your host, Ellie Adhami, licensed marriage and family therapist, with my co-host, Iman Adhami. Hello, I'm Ellie Adhami, licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm a relational therapist working with families, couples, and individuals, specializing in high conflict relational dynamics. Welcome to another episode 3 of Sessions with Ellie. I'm here today again with my lovely co-host Iman. Hi, Iman.
Hello everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Very good, thank you. It's been a while since we've done one of these episodes.
Yeah, been a little break. It's nice to be back.
Yes, it's summertime. I'm sure our lovely viewers have also been busy with family and travel, and hopefully one of the topics that we have been discussing that may be a good thing to explore and discuss here and for these episodes was the importance of premarital counseling. Sometimes I'm under the impression that a lot of people don't really even understand what premarital counseling is. And I thought it would be good to kind of discuss that today, kind of give a background of what the purpose of, what happens in premarital counseling, what is the purpose of it, and then also why it's so important to do that.
Sounds good.
Very good. When you hear the phrase premarital counseling, what is the message in that to you?
I think my opinion on it is not opinion. My definition of it has changed over the past few years. Before, I used to think it was just two people going in and getting like the rundown on how marriage is going to be, how life together is going to be different than what it has been.
Okay.
But now I see it more as kind of like a mini therapy session or like an exploration session to analyze what that person that you're going to seek this counseling from, what they're saying, and how does that make you feel in relation to the person that you're with.
Okay.
To see if these things, how they trigger you, I guess, how they
affect the relationship that you may not be aware.
Right.
Okay.
And then that would be the point of it.
So a lot of what I hear as a therapist, which is commonly said in the public, is that if we don't have any issues, why are we going to a therapist before we even start a marriage? So it leads me to believe there's a negative stigma attached to going to therapy if I don't feel there's any issues. Whereas the purpose of some types of therapy, like premarital counseling, is to see if there are issues that I'm not able to see. For instance, especially with a relationship where you're in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, you're romantically involved and considering marriage, and maybe there's also even been a proposal already, because of a lot of other contributing factors, such as we're experiencing good emotions, right? When we're in that first stages of a relationship and looking forward to furthering the commitment and being in a committed relationship together. There's a lot of things that may be underlying in the relationship, might be at the core of the relationship, but we're unable to really see it because of things such as could be something as simple as even how I'm feeling based on my hormones, the love hormones, how I'm only seeing through a happy glass. I don't really have my analytic lens on to really explore things and see, is there any deep core issues that I'm unable to see? So what premarital counseling does is it puts you through a series of sessions bringing up topics, even if you don't feel there's anything really to explore. But the therapist can help you look at what makes a happy marriage, what makes a healthy marriage, and then putting you through those questions, explorations, for you to be able to talk about those subjects, to see if there's compatibility. Because you may be talking about a lot of things mentally with each other, but not feeling compatible emotionally in how you're discussing them. So what therapy can do, what premarital counseling can do, is help you tap into your emotions of, am I compatible in these values with this person or not? Or am I in some way conforming? Or is it because I find this person attractive, or I find this person having the same maybe socioeconomic status that I'm looking for, or for whatever other reason, that, or maybe I just want to get married, but I'm not really looking to see if does the relationship have what it takes to make a marriage happy. So in premarital counseling, those are the things that you can address.
Sounds like it would be good for anyone who's looking to get married.
Do you have any subjects that you feel would be important to discuss if you were to go to a premarital counseling? What do you think are the core subjects to evaluate and to explore in a safe place like therapy, to be able to see if you have compatibility with the person that you want to marry or not?
I would imagine romantic relations.
You mean sexual?
Sexual relations.
Sexual compatibility?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would imagine that would be a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Just the general, how they view life. I mean, I would imagine you would know these things at that point of dating this person.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like you said, there could be, you're seeing it through these rosy lenses where everything's perfect, because usually up to the point of a proposal, I imagine everything has been pretty good up to that point. I'm pretty sure the couple has had a few fights, but nothing major.
Mm-hmm.
And if there have been major things, maybe by that point, someone has buried some emotions.
Mm-hmm. Something I hear often is he looks perfect or she looks perfect on paper. She's from a good family or he's from a good family. He's highly educated and has a good, stream of income. He's very family oriented. So that leads me to believe he or she would be a good parent, and I would be able to have a good partnership in marriage with this person. That's the problem that I see a lot of times, where things look good on paper. I hear that phrase a lot. So I should do this. But in some way, that's alerting me that emotionally they're settling. And what makes a good marriage is not to look good on paper, is to be emotionally compatible in the things that look good on paper.
Because that's essentially the point of marriage, right? Like, why get married if you're not? It's an emotional. Connection. Like that's how I see marriage. Like, I like being in relationships. I like whoever I like, but at this point, I'm not ready to get married to anyone because I'm not ready to make that emotional connection. I can love that person and I can be in love with that person, but emotionally, I'm not at a place where I can give that extra that marriage brings with it.
The level of commitment.
Right.
To want to do this for the rest of your life with this person.
Right.
Yeah.
I can stay with someone for a long time, even maybe forever until the end of time. But the marriage thing, I feel like it's something intangible that that you try to codify with marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to do that, if you do see it that way, which I think people do, it's that thing that they say, oh, marriage is, I don't know, some people say they can't explain it, like I feel the love or whatever it is. I think it is that wanting to make that extra emotional connection.
Mm-hmm.
And then you seal the deal with the marriage. So if you're willing to do that, then you got to get into the emotional stuff.
Right. Right.
That's the whole point.
And the concern is that some people may be moving forward with a relationship even very long term, like a year, 2 year, 3 year relationship, that now there's nothing left to do but get married, because we've just been together for so long, but they haven't really been able to look at some of the main subjects that there needs to be a lot of compatibility in. And compatibility doesn't mean we agree on everything. Compatibility means that even when there's conflict, we are able to sit down and discuss it. And some things may be more important for me, so you need to give in. You need to accommodate me in what I desire, the way I want to do this in life together. And some things are more important to you, so we're able to identify those things together, and I'm willing to, it's not conforming, but it's evaluating what I feel and I see is more important for you. So I will do it the way where it makes you happy, as long as it's not harming me, as long as what you want is not in any way negatively impacting me. I'm just prioritizing you in this subject. So some of the more, is that clear what
That
I'm
makes
saying?
sense.
Yeah. So some of the very important issues that we do look at, of course, if the couple is coming to therapy because they have noticed some areas where they need to talk it out and make sure that there's compatibility before they take that step into marriage. And that's where we would always start. But if they're coming just to make sure for a therapist to help them see if there is anything like a red flag that they should work through, some of the main subjects we look at is, for instance, religious beliefs. And you could be from the same religion, but still have totally complete opposite views about the religion. So just because I'm Jewish and I'm dating someone Jewish, it doesn't mean that we're religiously compatible. I maybe want to live it completely different than what you do. And then this, in relation to the marriage, would create conflict between us all the time. Because, for instance, maybe you want our child to go to a religious school and I want them to go to a secular school. So talking about that, exploring that together, just as an example, in premarital counseling, makes you aware that you do need to look deeper into things, even in the areas where you feel there's compatibility because you're the same. So yes, we are both Jewish, but we may be very incompatible. Another big one is political views, especially with the political climate over the past few years, and people being locked down because of the pandemic the past 2-3 years almost, and just how life has changed, and they've spent more time together because there was less of an outside world. So a lot of these things are becoming more and more apparent. So that's one of the topics actually that people are more aware. There's division even between, again, using as the same example as we may both be Jewish, we may both be conservative, or we may both be liberal. But how you go about your liberal views may be very different than what I'm going through. And because of the climate we live in, that has become even more personal to us. Another major topic is finances. Like we're dating, we're going,
That's a big one.
Yeah. We're dating, we're going out, we're having a great time. You're spending a lot of money. I see you're not acting frugal in any way with anything. But that's not really going to indicate to either one of us how things are going to be done financially in a marriage. Who's in charge of being the breadwinner? What happens when they decide to want to have children? Are we both expected to work and make a living, or is it okay with my husband for me to be a stay-at-home mom? Or maybe my husband comes from a value system, a household where he feels a mom should stay home and I want to be a career woman. So that's another very big one. What are you thinking so far about what we're discussing?
Yeah, I mean, it all seems like it's stuff that needs to be taken care of before all the paperwork's done.
And exploration.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully, people can get this done in a not so rigid fashion, where it seems like everything seems like, oh, it has to be like by the textbook or something. It happens in conversation when you go on dates, and it's being able to pick up on those things as you are on that date, and you're able to look past the fancy drinks and atmosphere and the meal that you're having, and listen to what this person is actually saying.
Very true. I agree with that 100%. I want to add a little part to that. Sometimes we're also not showing our true colors, as they say, when we're dating. Not in a malicious way that we're trying to fool or trick the person that we are dating. We're unaware that we are not really our authentic self in this dating process. And that stems back, which is the other subject I wanted to talk about that's important to explore. That could stem back from things that happened to me in my childhood. Going back to our talks in the other 2 episodes about family systems. If I grew up in a family environment where it wasn't safe for me to be my authentic self, and I had to either show in a way like I'm conforming to you, or I'll just say whatever that pleases you, and I'm not even aware that I'm doing this. And then what happens is after marriage, now that the parents aren't there, and I realize I don't need to be something else with you, we're in a marriage, so my true self comes out. And then you start seeing a completely different person than you saw while we were dating. So another benefit of going to a professional for premarital counseling before actually making that commitment and going forward with it is a professional would be able to see through that and bring it to the couple's attention that maybe you are not in this relationship with your authentic self. Maybe things look different than what they actually are at the core.
That would be good to find out.
Yes, yes. That's one way that you can look at how your family may be contributing to what's happening in the relationship. Now let's go the other way, where we are both aware of our childhood experiences and how those may have affected us, and we think we have a handle on it all, and we're actually very open about this, and we're talking to each other about this on all our dates, and everything seems great and wonderful. And it is. It's very good to have that awareness and actually I encourage the couples that come to me in premarital counseling, or if someone's with me individually that is dating, I always encourage them to, because we are working together in therapy and you're aware of these issues, bring it up and see how the person that you're dating would deal with that, how much awareness they have about that background, about their childhood and everything. So it would be very important that even when we're aware, to have a professional also look into that and make sure there is compatibility and everything that needs to be explored is being explored.
Yeah, kind of like having that third party kind of look at things with an unbiased eye.
Correct. That's really all it is. It's someone helping you look at everything from the outside in case there's something that you're missing. And I think something that prevents some couples from going into premarital counseling when they don't feel there's any issues, they feel that where if there's no issues, what if issues come up? Then it's going to, because of therapy. And then we're forced to break up. And because that is something that they don't want to happen, so it becomes a defense against coming to therapy. It keeps them back from coming to therapy. So I also want to clarify, even if there are issues found in premarital counseling, that doesn't mean you have a bad relationship.
Right.
Or you have an unhealthy relationship and you need to break up. What it actually does is it helps you see what issues and conflicts can arise after you're married and help you learn how to be in the conflict together, how to stay connected in the conflict, how to, as I said, how to compromise, not conform, but compromise, where when I know something is more important to you about this subject, I give in, and see if you have the same respect that when you know something is more important to me, you have the ability to give in. That's where compatibility is. Because no relationship, no marriage is about not having conflict or issues. Life, relationships, all sorts of relationships is about conflict. Even siblings have conflict and being raised with the same exact in the same exact environment.
Right.
What makes a healthy relationship is how are we connected and how do we respect each other and the relationship in the conflict. That's what makes a healthy marriage. So when those things arise in premarital counseling, the therapist can also help the couple learn ways how to be compatible in the conflicts together, how to overcome them and get past them. So then when it happens in marriage, it could happen with in-laws, it could happen in parenting, it could be religious views, it could be political views, it could be finances, it could be, these are just a few of the topics that get discussed. So when you're in an environment, in a safe environment where the therapist is helping you look at those things, you can learn how to overcome them and learn to be compatible with each other and see if you could actually go on to have a healthy relationship in a marriage together.
Sounds good. More people should be doing this.
As a therapist, I definitely agree with that. Because two of the facts that is always sitting with me, and I could say I kind of struggle with it, because there's a way to avoid this from happening to us, yet I find not everyone is open to getting help. We've talked about this in some of our other, I think it was the last episode, episode 2, that 50% of first marriages end in divorce, and 65% of second marriages end in divorce. And then I recently had in one of my other talks, not the episodes that we did, that there's, according to research, this is a research by Dr. John Gottman, that has studied relationships over a 30-year period. He calls it, I think, the Love Lab. He has found that 69%, and that's a very funny number. I know it's not 70, it's not 68, it's 69% of problems in marriages are unsolvable and perpetual problems.
Wow.
Isn't that fascinating? So if there is a 50% divorce rate in your first marriage, there's a 65% divorce rate in the second marriage. We know as a fact, based on study, that 69% of problems in marriages are perpetual and unsolvable. Yet marriage is something we would like to do, we would like to have in our life. So why not have the tools to increase our chances to be part of the other percentage, to be the other 50% that doesn't fail? Or if you're in a second marriage, be part of the other 35% that doesn't fail. And premarital counseling or marital counseling or any kind of individual therapy before you get into that relationship, even the first time around, is where you can get those tools.
People gotta stop being afraid of finding fault within themselves, so they can go and get those tools.
What do you think prevents people from going in to have those tools? Do you think they don't know about the percentages of risk associated with marriage, or do you feel it's something else?
I think people just think, oh, I can handle it. I've gotten this far along in life without getting any help, then why do I need it for this next one? But with marriage, it's a highly emotional thing. And if you're emotionally not there yet, then it's not gonna work out. You're gonna be part of that 50% or 65%.
So I obviously this isn't everything that premarital counseling is about. I just hope that today we touched on some of the highlights of what happens in premarital counseling, kind of to bring awareness to everyone that's watching this. And of course, everyone's more than welcome to contact me for a consultation to see what are some of the other things that gets explored in premarital counseling. And of course, the first, the most and main important things would always be what the couple is bringing to me.
I would imagine it could get specific. I mean, there are general things that you talk about, but it is pretty specific for the people coming in.
Correct.
At least the approach.
Correct.
Yeah.
The approach is very custom made. It's interesting you said that because it reminded me to also maybe mention one of the people that do, the couples that do end up coming into premarital counseling. It's mostly from what I have seen in my personal life and also in my clinical work, it's mostly about in-laws. But it's not really that there's an issue with the in-laws. Again, it's how are we in the conflict together with both sets of in-laws of each other. And that, again, stems back to our own family system. And then now I'm mixing in with another family. So there's two family systems. You used to belong there. I used to belong there. Now we're coming together and we need to create another family system where everything is a healthy and safe environment where we want to develop and establish ourselves, our sense of family and what we want from life and the values that we want to instill in our children. But there's a family system pulling me this way and there's another family system pulling you this way. And how do we come together with keeping the respect and the relationship, but being able to set boundaries now around our household, around our identity as a family, and not allowing anything to disturb that, so that we can move forward with creating this marriage, this family, in a healthy way.
That's a big one too. Yeah. Especially having to manage the previous systems.
Yes.
Because you're trying to build a new one.
Yes. And to be quite honest with you, all the other subjects, the religious, all the other things that we touched upon, our religious views, political views, finances, all of those things, it comes from the family system. So again, everything really goes back to our experiences in those families, and then now we're trying to create another family. That's why premarital counseling is so important, because you're creating something new out of two sometimes completely different or even opposite things. So if you explore that and you look at all the components that was functional in that system and dysfunctional in that system, we can decide together how can we put all the good parts from here and all the good parts from this other family, and how can we create something more effective and close and fulfilling and happy together. Is there any parts of what we touched upon that you'd like to reflect on before we end? I see a lot of thinking and processing going on for you.
Yeah, the conflict part that we talked about a while ago, that kind of stood out, how you were saying. I forgot exactly what it was, but you can think of any conflict. Anything can be a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's something big for like a marriage type thing that you need to work out, or something simple as walking down the street on the sidewalk and someone's walking past you. Like, you have to negotiate that. Even something as simple as that, you still have to negotiate. If you're walking on the same side, who's going to move over so you don't bump into each other? Mm-hmm. Does that person have a dog? Do they have a stroller? Is it an old person? Is it a young person? Is it a couple? Are you going to make this couple split up, or are you going to let them have the sidewalk because they're hugging each other?
Oh.
Is there poop on the grass, so you wait until they pass, or whatever it is? Mm-hmm. Like, something as simple as that is a conflict.
Yes.
That you can work out yourself in your own head in a matter of seconds.
Right.
But something as big as finances or political views or level of religious views and stuff like that, you're definitely going to need someone who has, again, no skin in the game, a third party that can sit there and look at the situation, your specific situation, and say, certain things, this could be a red flag, that could be a red flag, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And I think what you're referring to or reflecting on about conflict is where I said any relationship is about conflict.
Right.
It's how you resolve those conflicts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All very fascinating.
Yeah. Well, very good. I hope our viewers found this episode informative, as is my hope with any episode we put out.
Keep liking it. That's how we know.
Yes. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel or follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Ellie at HamiPsychotherapy.com is the website, and that's how you can also find me on social media.
Right on.
Thank you for viewing this episode, and we look forward to the next one. Thank you, Iman.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good chat, as always.
Yes.